The patience of our members have been taxed beyond tolerable limit. NEC therefore resolved to embark on a 4-week rollover total and comprehensive strike beginning from Monday, 14th February 2020, which is today.
On February the 14th, St. Valentine's Day, the National Executive Council of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, KASU, announced a 1-month warning strike. On the expiration of the 4-week warning strike, it was extended by 2 months, against expectations of a full-scale indefinite strike. Academic activities have been grounded. Usual quietness takes center stage in campuses since the strike was activated in its chapters across universities in Nigeria. What more do you need to know about the details of ASU's demand? The payment of earned academic allowance, the replacement of the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System with the University Transparency and Accountability System, improved funding of state universities, and funding for revitalization of public universities, among others.
The NIDA report is 1. The renegotiation is 2. These are 2 key things that they gave time limit to. And the time limit given to for these issues to us, we don't know why it should be so long, up to 3 months.
But government maintains that ASU's decision to prolong the industrial action is unwarranted.
No employee, no worker, by any principles at work. No employer dictates to your employer how to pay you. The important thing is for your salaries, remuneration to be paid as and when due.
The industrial action is now in its 10th week. While the strike lasts, it's believed that representatives of the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the federal government have been meeting to resolve contending issues. And it's expected that the truce will be reached before the extended warning strike expires.
Well, that's the general state of public universities in Nigeria. As of today, a strike that began on February the 14th has now lingered. Now, public universities are broken down. We have 5 federal universities. Yes, on the one hand, we have state universities. So the latest twist to this, which is why we're going to be having this conversation this morning, is that the Kaduna State University's school management actually released a statement saying that, you know what, school resumes on May the 9th, and there was no mention or reference of the ASU strike. And as you would expect, a lot of people thinking, wait a minute, is KASU, which is the acronym for Kaduna State University, is now exempted from the general ASU struggle, as they put it. Lots of questions. Is this the hand of the state government at work? There's been some response to that as well. But what does this mean in the whole scheme of things, first for KASU and for the general strike situation in Nigeria? And perhaps is this, you know, a move towards the situation? Well, let's have that conversation with Dr. Peter Adamu, who's the chairman, Academic Staff Union of Universities, KASU chapter. Is also a lecturer at Department of Economics, Kaduna State University. He joins us via Zoom from Kaduna. Good morning, Doctor. Thank you for joining us on the program. First, let me get your response to that, what do I say, circular, the letter by KASU saying that school resumes on May the 9th.
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning. We actually saw a memo online flying on social media. It was shocking to us because the procedure to open or reopen or shut down university lies solely in the hands of the Senate of the university. So it's actually shocking because, to the best of my knowledge, there was no Senate meeting that took place for the decision to be arrived at. And We just saw it actually. So it's shocking to us as well, because there are procedures. University is a system. It's not just somewhere where someone can just sit down in his office or anywhere to dish out instructions or directives. So this is where we are. But the information that I will pass at this moment is that we have not changed our decision. Our decision is that we are still observing the rollover strike action. And at the moment, we are already in the 7th week of the 8-week rollover strike declared by our union. So this is where we are.
So are you saying, in spite of that memo, which you have seen, in spite of the position of the school, you're not going back to work on May the 9th?
Okay, we actually are guided by decisions of NEC because we are members of the union. And the Constitution of Nigeria guarantees that right. That is, we have rights to belong to a trade union, and our trade union is KASU. And at the moment, we are still observing the strike action. Nothing has changed. And then again, before we started this strike action, we communicated to the university management. And this decision was taken without even the input of the union. So as far as we're concerned, this is alien to us.
So is that to say that that memo, that purported memo allegedly put out by one Adamu Bargo, PRO of Kaduna State University, who spoke on behalf, or who wrote on behalf of the management of the university, is untrue?
It's not untrue, of course, because he wrote his name there, and he has claimed to be the author of that information. But again, like I stated earlier, our members are resolute, they are committed to the struggle. And again, we should get it clear that this struggle is for the benefit of the university. We have about 48 state universities in the country and less federal universities. So if monies are released for revitalization or revamping of the university system, state universities benefit more. In fact, since 2014 to date, I think Kaduna University have gotten more than $1 billion, I think, or 1.5 billion or so. And if you come to Kaduna University, you will call it TED Fund and Needs Assessment University, because it is from this struggle that we get to have infrastructure in place, lab equipment, and so many other things that aid the activities in the university. So come to think of it, that we pull out of the strike or whatever that it is that the government is saying. So does that mean that if these monies are actually shared between public universities, the university management will write maybe to the government to know we don't want to participate in the sharing of this money? So it's actually disheartening that at this time, people that are the greatest beneficiaries of this struggle will try to sabotage the struggle.
Well, Dr. Adamu, when was the last time the university management communicated with your chapter of ASU?
All right, I think we had a meeting with the university management last week. They called us for a meeting, and we reiterated our position that we are on strike and nothing has changed.
Was there ever any indication that such a memo would be put out by the university?
Not at all. That's why I said it's shocking to us, because nobody actually told us that this was going to be sent out to the public.
Well, part of the memo also hinted at, or tried to distance itself from claims that the Kaduna State government may have attempted to compel the university management to put out that memo and thereby compel students to resume and compel your chapter of ASU to resume. Do you suspect that maybe there was any such thing that may have been going on?
I actually saw the second memo shared by the PRO, absolving the state government from whatever coalition or forced to reopen the university. And I'm very sure the state government wouldn't do that because the university has a governing council, and the governing council is the employer of the lecturers and everyone in the university. So I don't think the state government will meddle into the affairs of Kaduna State University. It's just unfortunate that some people somewhere are trying to be more Catholic than the Pope, if I'll use that phrase, to want to issue directives that will not work. And they are very much aware that it will not work because our members are very committed to the struggle, because the struggle is not for selfish purpose. We also are affected by this strike. Our members are students in the university. Some are pursuing their PhD, some are pursuing their masters. We also have children. Most of our members also have children in the same university. So why would we not want the university to reopen? But we know that this cost is a just cost, and that is for the betterment of the system.
Right. So this struggle you speak about, let's break it down, because whether we like it or not, yes, there's a general ASU, but we have federal universities and state universities. And tell us, for your own chapter, what grouse do you have with the state government? What are the things that the state government ought to have done, or perhaps you had an agreement with the state government and the state government failed to, keep up to its own side of the bargain?
All right. The university system actually is structured in a way that the governing council runs the university on behalf of the government. And let me make this point very clear. ASU is one. ASU is a trade union. We don't have a registration for ASU in KASU. So it is just one union that we have. The only thing that we do is to do the administrative aspect of ASU from the national perspective. So we have a number of local issues, of course, and for years we've written to the university management. Even recently, I think we wrote a number of issues to the chairman of governing council, and we have requested for a meeting with the council of the university, and we're yet to get replies from them.
So are you on strike? Just to be clear, let's understand. Are you on strike currently?
We have been on strike.
No, I'm not done with the question. I know you're on strike. Are you on strike because of the local problems or because of the federal issues you talk about?
Right. The federal issues actually affect all public universities, regardless of whether they are state or federal. For instance, the salary structure of public universities, regardless of whether they are federal or state, is the same. The condition of service is being negotiated by the union, that is ASU. So this suggests that whatever agreement reached between the union and the government will affect members in both federal universities and state universities. But at the moment, before a local chapter actually declares strike action in a local branch, there are procedures that must be followed. One, the branch must approach the zone. The zone will have to send some delegation to the university to see if these issues actually can be resolved at the zonal level. If it cannot be resolved at that level, the same issue will be tabled at the national. The NEC will take decision to send some people also from national to meet the university management. And if the issues are not resolved, then the local chapter can be granted permission to now embark on a local strike action. But at the moment, the strike action which is in place is the national strike action.
So to be clear, you don't have any issues, at least big enough to warrant a strike. No, pardon me. You don't have any issues, at least big enough to warrant a strike with the state government of Kaduna State. Am I right?
No, we have a lot of issues that warrant a strike action. And again, after this national strike action, there's also a possibility that this might happen at the local chapter.
Okay, so you're saying that the strike you're on is not even for the issues you have with the state government. It's for the issues that federal universities that are under federal government have with the federal government.
No, public universities, please, not federal universities.
Are you funded by the federal government?
To a large extent. I wish you try to take a trip to Kaduna so that you see that 95 or 99% of the projects that you have are from struggles like this. That is, you have the needs assessment, which is part of the struggle that we are in today. That is for the revitalization of public universities. So if such monies are released, lecture theaters are built, lab equipment are purchased, these monies do not come from the state government. And again, TED Fund, as you know, is a product of this same struggle. So to a large extent, we could say that the universities, state universities, are mostly funded by the federal government.
When I say funded now, I was speaking to you in particular as a lecturer. Is your salary paid by the state government or the federal government?
The salary is actually paid by the state government.
So don't you think it's fair maybe to have a negotiation, a sit down with the state government, which of course you're under its purview, to have those issues resolved rather than have a blanket kind of arrangement? Because what state governments are saying now is, well, some of these issues are not with us. So why are we essentially being punished for a sin, in quotes, that is not ours?
It's actually very surprising that you hear state governors mention that. How many of the state governors have been funding the university? Very, very few. How many of them have deliberately budgeted for theaters to be built in their state universities? Only a limited number. So because they pay salaries, it's just like a support system to keep the state universities, floating. Because if you ask them to come to maybe fund a state university, a lot of them cannot do it. And you know why they are floating state universities? Because of course they know that public universities will be funded by the federal government through their agencies, state fund, and this kind of arrangement of needs assessment. So that is why most of them will tell you that they don't have issues. But of course, there are lots and lots of issues in state universities.
Well, you may want to let us into some of those peculiar, as you call it, local issues that you as a lecturer and staff of the Kaduna State government through Kaduna State University have peculiarly with the management of the school. Because when you said that you wrote for a meeting and you're yet to get one, you also mentioned the fact that you had a meeting with them last week. So I'm wondering if those issues couldn't have been tabled at that meeting.
All right, we've been battling with these issues, and there are a number of issues. One, we have in 2017, September particularly, precisely, we were on a strike action, and part of our salary was not paid. We also have issues of end academic allowance for about 4 sessions. We have issues of promotion arrears for a number of years. We have issues of group life insurance. We have issues of non-remittance of pension. The list goes on and on. We have a long list. So we actually have tried to be as magnanimous as possible to allow the university time to raise these funds so that, things can be done rightly in the university. And again, all of these problems now are now causing other problems in the university. We have a lot of young academics leaving the university in their drove, going to better place. Some are leaving the country because the condition of study actually is very, very difficult in the university.
Well, you said that you had a meeting last week. Were these issues allowed on the table or not?
They actually refused to present these issues. They are still telling us that they are working to resolve some of these issues.
You said that these issues started from 2017, but from the question that my colleague asked you, the issues of ASU, the federal body, dates back 2009. Some even date back as far as 2001. Is KASU also having such a backlog of issues with the state government?
Yes, of course. I actually presented to you that one of the issues is non-remittance of pension also, from 2009 to 2019. So all of these issues were captured in our letter sent to the chairman of the Governor Council. And we're able to get response on them.
Is this something that happens with all state universities, where the lecturers that are employed by the state governments connected to the terms of and conditions of engagement as far by the federal government as well?
Yes, the arrangement of state universities is such that lecturers from federal universities are given incentive to come teach in state universities. Else, nobody wants to come to state universities because, of course, the governors will want to use some kind of policies to frustrate them. So, in most cases, if you're employed in a state university, it will be mentioned clearly that your emolument and whatever allowances are as what is obtained in the federal university. So that is why the condition of service in state universities and federal university are the same. Or
well,
else you
Dr. Adamu,
maybe less. Yeah.
Pardon me, because honestly, this is dragging for too long, the strike, and I imagine it's affecting you, the students, and a lot of other things. It has a ripple effect, which is why, at least as much as we can, we maybe point to possible solutions here and there, and I was hoping that this might be one of it, have a sit down with the state government. But would you be willing then, or would you be opposed to a no work, no pay policy?
All right, I think for clarification, people should understand that academic staff do not just teach. Our work is threefold. We do research, personal research. We also do community service and teaching. So at the moment, it is just the teaching aspect that we're not doing. In fact, just last week, I published a paper using my same university and my country, of course, because it was published abroad. So we are still doing the other part of our work.
But clearly, teaching is a major part of the work you're meant to do, if you were maybe to break it down. Research. So what percentage would you give to research?
I think over 50% or so, about 50% of course of what we do. Because if you have a university and you don't do research, you don't have a university, you have just a school.
So what percentage is teaching?
Teaching? I actually don't have to give you percentages.
Well, you just gave me a percentage for research, Dr. Adamu. So, I mean, if you say over 50, so teaching should be, what, 40? Because there are other things like community service. So teaching, is it 30?
Because I said research actually is the major component of our work. Research is the major component of our work in the university. So that portion of our work has not been withdrawn. We're still doing it. If you go around.
Oh dear. Well, I was hoping to get that angle clear, but
lecturers are still, working on researches.
Okay, well, Dr. Adamu, I lost the major part of what you were saying because of the connection glitch. But just to be clear, you say that really you're still doing research, and I wonder how, because, well, I know that your students also play a major role in the research you do. Now, SANU, NASU, of course, they're on strike as well. So how exactly are you carrying out the research? And, I mean, some would say, well, teaching is actually a major part as well. So how exactly are you working around that?
Sorry, I didn't get that. The network is actually breaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, the question is simple. How exactly are you going around the research? Because I know the students, of course, the teaching component feeds into the research or has some sort of interplay. And of course, SANU, NASU, they're on strike as well. So how exactly are you doing that?
Yeah, of course, we are the lecturers, those in the sciences, they have labs, they have access to their labs, of course, because they are not students, they are lecturers, so they can have access to their labs, do whatever they do. Those in the social sciences, they have access to their personal libraries, and as well the university library. They also read, to do such researches. Some also do their researches using their online platforms. They have the internet and so many other things.
Right.
So that actually covers for it.
So it's, on a final note, it's safe to say that you're not on strike then, you're just not teaching students.
It's all right. The aspect of the strike that you get to know is when we do not teach. Of course, you wouldn't know when I'm doing my personal research.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're not on strike. Lecturers in Nigeria.
We're on strike, actually.
No, you're not.
Lecturers
You just said you're still doing.
They are withdrawn. Please, let me get it very clear. Let me put it very, very clear here. If lecturers are on strike, in most cases, it is the teaching component that has been withdrawn.
Okay, I wonder how fair that is really, because I'd expect that we want to invest in the human capital. But Dr. Adamu, I really hope that this impasse is resolved from the government side, ASU, and also our students can be back in public schools. But we'd like to thank you so much. We've been speaking with Dr. Peter Adamu, who's the chairman, ASU KASU chapter. Thank you so much for your time, and we wish you the very best.
Thank you for having me.